Well, this afternoon I'm going to try and capture this scene that I took, this photograph I took in the park in Bedford a few days ago. Lots of amazing colours there with this red and these nice pine trees and the fountain, of course, and this different yellows here. The bright yellow and the sort of limey greens here. So I think doing the water will be quite a challenge. They've got these sort of olivey greens and then the splash of white, a little bit washed out in my photograph, but of course we can adjust that when we're painting. So let's have a go. Anyway, we'll map it in as soon as we can. And just to go through my colours that I've chosen, we can see that in the light there. I've got titanium white, Naples yellow, cadmium yellow, yellow ochre, raw umber, burnt sienna, sap green, olive green, some phthalo green, ultramarine blue and cerulean blue, crimson alizarin and cadmium red. So what I'm going to do is to I think I need to zoom up a little bit on this though, so I can get a bit of a closer. Right, let's stay there. So I'm going to just map in with a little bit of, what shall I do, with a little umber. So just a thin bit of oil. Want a very thin solution here, just so I can map out my general scene. So I'm just again drawing on the reference photograph that I have. So I want to bring down I've got rather too much water, so I think I'm going to just below halfway. I think we'll come in with our line there, and that's the extent of the water. In fact, I might bring it back down a little bit lower. Right, we can do that. Then this would be our greens, of a bit of the park green here and park green in this area. Got some nice yellows here. Again, this is just the map in. Got some little firs up here coming in there. Got 2 or 3 firs. Another one here and some other trees, different colours, which also I'm going to map in. So this is just, as I say, just a rough idea. And we've got our fountain, which is really our, I suppose, one of our focal points. Rather magnificent fountain there. And again, we've got different trees here. Quite a line of trees here. I must try and vary the shapes and the colours. A sort of acidy green one there. And let's get those main pine trees in here. Coming in the one in the background there. And another one sort of here. A little bit lower, I must make that lower. And right in the middle here, we've got a lovely red, beautiful red tree. Don't know what that is. And then you've got more trees here, varying colours, some of them bright yellows. So this is just trying to give me a little bit of a map in, to give me some sort of clue where I'm going with this. I've got trees at this level, and I must make them a little fainter in colour intensity as they go back, or to force them back in our view, our aerial perspective, as it's called. We want to not bring them forward. If they're bright and intense, we will. So, and of course we've got all the ripples, and this is our lake area here. So we've got to do that somehow or other. So let's put a bit of green, bit of sap green with my mapping umber there, just to get my darkest darks. I think it's quite a dark colour there. Put a little bit of blue there with my sap green. I've got greens coming along, darker greens. Trying to map in my darkest greens, or some of my greens. Darker ones, and of course our get a bit of umber with that, darken up our green. I'll cut into the fir tree later to get some more shape into it. But this is pretty much a start anyway. And just to our right we had quite a clump of trees here. That's our main trunks coming down there, and we've got fir trees out here. to add a little bit of white to make some different greens. Now we can vary it. And the light more yellowy. Greens here. We need a bit more yellow with that. Use some cadmium yellow and put a bit of phthalo green with that. It's quite a vivid green, so I think we could perhaps ought to tone it down a little bit with a bit of umber to I've got some under here, under the bit of shadow area. Some different greens in here. Need to get in some more green, different green in here. It was we need a little bit more yellow, a bit more cadmium yellow. So we can get some nice bright yellows. I must try not to let it get muddy, which is easily done. And I think I need some yellows in here. So make sure you wipe your brush, keep your brush clean. You get a muddy scene, you don't want that. So let's have a little bit of yellow going here, and see if I can stipple in some of the tree here. Some lovely yellows, but I'm going to have a nice red one in there shortly. We need some more yellow out here. We need to get some muted colours out there to push those trees back a little bit. Let's get in this magnificent red tree, which I see in the middle there. So we use some crimson alizarin. And I think we've got, oh yes, a little cadmium, I think is what we've got to do here. A striking colour. I could see a little bit of the sky through it in the background, so I'll have to put little dabs of sky colour in at some point. And it comes down right down here. and always at the bottom of the tree you're going to have it much darker, because you're not going to get the sun hitting there. So see, we got enough there. It's a great tree. Let's not get it muddy though. Dark under the base of it there. Let us get some coverage of this lake. It's kind of distracting at the moment. We've got it white glaring at us. So let's clean the brush off a little. And yes, I think we need more spirit to clean off my brush. Right, I'm going to use a number 10 flat here to map all this. Just take it down. It's essentially a pretty greenish colour, but I'm using pretty weak solution at the moment with some oil and some odorless mineral spirit to try and make it thin it out a little bit. So this is just our background, so we can put some whites in there and some highlights and start to map out the tree, the lake a bit better. I'm using a Proshard box, mainly use these for painting outside, but it's a bit too cold today, so I thought I'd just paint in the warm. Right, well, it's obviously the wrong colour right now, but we can deal with that when we put some some whites into it and some light blues. Let's just have a little experiment. Bit of white. That there. I can drop in. This is almost, this paint is really quite wet and juicy here. Almost like wet on wet when you're doing watercolour. But it's reflecting a lot of the sky here. So we can lighten it up quite considerably in parts. Lay it on fairly thickly. It came right out here. My whites. And I've got to get the fountain, of course, which is main feature. It'll be coming just about there. So I suppose we could see what we could do right away. So basically comes down forming a triangle as it shoots its water out. And we'll speckle some highlights later. Let's just see if we can get the general shape. Spraying off there. And of course it's laying its spray down like this. Right, well, we'll leave that for the moment. And get some more of these white in here in the lake. It's quite a lot actually. Reflecting the sky. I think we need to get plenty of white in here. try and create, I think with some smaller brush as well. I think I'll be doing that to get some highlights in. But at the moment I think I need a lot more white to reflect the sky. Right. I think we ought to put get a bit of blue in some of this. Bit of cerulean. It's looking just a little too green, I think, for us really. Got some let's get some sky in, I think. A little bit of blue. I think it helps us make it read a little better. Right, let's get on to that sky then. In my reference photograph, it's all rather sort of white and washed out a little bit, so I think I'm going to take a few liberties and just create my own sky, which will fit more for the painting rather than my washed out photograph as my reference. So I'm going to make a mixture of titanium white and some cerulean and put this sky in. Yes, I think that'll do it. I could put a bit of ultramarine to give it a little bit more strength. So let me lift this up a little bit. So this is a bit of ultramarine there and some titanium white. A little bit more ultramarine there. Mix it well up there. Let's have a go with that. Let's see what that does. Yes, I think it's an early spring day, so I think that's readable. I have to cut in around some of the trees as well, and we'll put in some branches at some point, see if we can help define their shape a little bit more. Remember, the sky usually gets a lot lighter towards the horizon, so we can have a bit more vivid up here, and as we get down we can introduce more light. Shaking around a bit. I hope you can still in focus. Just picked up a little bit of liquid medium. That helps the paint flow a little bit better. So bring it down here and we'll cut in, I think, probably with a smaller brush in a moment. But I just want to get rid of all that white. trying to get in a few hints of the sky breaking through some of these trees. To break up their shapes a little bit. I need a smaller brush, I think, to make that work. I think I need to reflect the something of the sky colour in the lake, because it is a reflection and it's looking rather green at the moment. So I think I need to introduce some more of the sky colour into our lake. I think we need to have a decent sort of shoreline or lakeside. It's hardly the sea, but and I think we'll probably have a maybe we need a smaller brush now to tighten up on our fountain. Let's see what it's reading like. Yes, I think we could. And some reflections, of course, get some of the yellows in that are reflecting the trees. That needs to be done. So let's get right on with that. Right in my mind. So we get some of the yellow. And we'll ghost it in here if we can. It comes right. Better, and we have the same out here. Got a little out here, yellow, and then we've got need to get some of the shadows in here under this tree here. Needs to be a lot darker so it reads better, and under here as well. And some darks, greens under here, and with reflection coming out there. I need to darken that green up a bit, so I put a bit of blue in it, and a bit of umber. A bit more green. Right. I think I need... Oh. Get a bit more of the shape into the fountain, I think. It's not bothering me at the moment, so let's get cracking on that. We want a smaller brush, obviously. Yes, I think something like this one. What size this one is? Number 4. A 4 round. So let's get a little bit of tiny titanium white and see whether I can define that shape a little bit better. You're getting a spray coming out like that. Also, I think I could have bits of brighter sky, I think. What I could do, if you put a darker colour up against a lighter one, it helps it stand out a bit. Oh, so I put a bit of green on there. Um, coming on. That's better. And I need to see if I can stipple on some highlights. That's a little bit better. And I need to get some shadow coming in here, some reflection I should say, on this tree, this yellow one here. Let's brighten it up a bit. I want to try and get some of the green grass on the far bank, on that bank. Not reading, it's just a sliver of a bright greeny colour, sort of. So I'm going to use a bit of phthalo. Got a bit of Naples yellow there. Palish yellow. Let's see if I can, yes, possibly. Bit of lawn out here. Make it a bit whiter. It's a bit too light there, a bit of green. Sometimes it's good to step back and see where you're going. I think we could put some olive water here. Let's do something to the red tree. I think I could beef it up a little bit. It was quite striking. Make it a bit more vivid. Try and catch its shape as well. It did a little bit of it came across that one. Right. Now let's try and get some more of the greens reading a bit better. I should do a bit of reflection, shouldn't I? Right. We've got some sort of reddy browns here, so I could suggest some of these out here. Don't want them too vivid because they will come forward. I'm trying to push them back a little bit. Let's see what I can do with Right, let's get some of the better shape for furs. I think I need to improve that a little bit. So let's get a different brush. I think smaller little filbert there. So let's get a nice green. I've got going to try this olive green there. A little bit of ultramarine, make it nice and dark. And I'll try and improve the shape of this tree. Yes, I think this was And I had think we need to bring some more green into here. So if you have a block of same color, it can be a little boring. So you need to vary that a little bit. I think there's put some there. There. I think I need to put some sky holes in some of these trees. I think they're looking a bit too solid, so I need to make up some light colored white and perhaps a little bit of blue. Let's see if we can just punch a hole in here, here, to break up the rather solid shapes I've had. Some of these starts to come in then. Greens. Right. Okay. Now I think I must try and get some suggestion of a trunk somewhere in some of these. Yes, I think I've got to bring that in some places, and also over here. Yes, we've got a little bit of little trunk we can show. It's very difficult to get it off against very wet paint. Just touching. Well, this is the pretty much the finished painting. My camera gave up the ghost somewhat, ran out of battery, so I've recharged it, and I've done a few alterations. I've made a few sky holes in the trees here. I've cut in with my sky to show something more of the shape of these firs. They were cut in somewhat there. They were sort of very raggedy. But I've also done some work on my fountain, and I put a little bit of shadow under there as well. It does cast a little bit of a shadow. I've also put some reeds in here. So I've just strike down here and we get a few in the foreground. It's always good to put a bit of interest. And I've got a few lilies as well in the foreground there. You can see those. I've got some green, lightish green. So I think we'll put in a couple more. That's not showing up. Need something a bit darker. So I'm just a little dab in. No, that's still too light because it's against a white or a lightish background, so I need to make something of a darker tone. So you can mix that up with some dark greens, a little bit of umber, so we can get some just general shapes really. I've got a little bit of green left here, so I think we'll put in a couple more just there, here and there, just to suggest them really. I could put a few more reeds in here. Blue flicks to suggest the shape. And pretty much that's about what I've done. I've completed it more or less, come out more or less as I wanted. Tried to get a variety of different colours and shapes in as well. Tried to keep those trees in the background a little bit less intense in colour, so it pushes them back a little bit. That's the plan. I think I could change the shape there, a little something, and I could use a bit more of my red there to give another little boost to this red tree I've got here. Amazing trees, these. It's vivid red, this one was. So I think I'm going to crimson alizarin there, and a little bit of cadmium red also to step it up a little bit. But as I said, there was so many different colours there. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. I hope you liked it. If you would like to see more of these, just touch the like button and the subscribe, and then you'll be notified of more paintings when I put them up. No charge to that, of course. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. So this is Bedford Park, just a few days ago.